which is great. All right, so we'll get this town hall going. We have Sergeant Steele here today in for Chief Hessing. Chief Hessing had another thing that started at the exact same time today, so he'll be here to answer your questions, hopefully, or whatnot, or talk. You already took care of one, and then obviously Chief Tominski. We can start this off a little differently if you guys want and ask us questions, because I know you've heard a lot of the spiel already from the fire and stuff. If you guys have any questions you want to ask specific, you can do that. I thought that young man was trying to come in. You guys have any questions or anything before we get going? Sure.
Are they starting to widen the road down there where all those homes are, or what are they doing?
No, that's the light at Moyle. The light that's going in at Moyle. They have to do the improvements on Moyle Lane. We're still working with the state to try to get this thing widened sooner than what they wanted to put it on their improvement plan. So, yeah, so that's supposed to be done in June on that, where we'll have a light, and then they're going to have that light and plumber's light sync together on there, so you can get the flow going on there. That's the plan anyway. Now it's going to take probably a couple weeks to get that thing all figured out, but
House goes in and Seneca Springs will get a light.
that not at that time. But it is slated to get a light at Seneca Springs at some point, yes. But that's not tied to any specific building being built or anything on that. Yeah, yeah. We just not too long ago got the approval from ITD through our traffic study and stuff to allow us to put a light there. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions before we get going? No? Are you going to talk about the report or? Oh yeah, use the microphone. Sorry. He's a rookie to this thing. We got to use the microphone.
We'll figure it out sooner or later. Our February report is out. Obviously, it's posted on the city page. So if anybody wants to jump in and do a deep dive into that, they can look at it. Just talks about our response times, the calls that we had, our proactive policing, our reactive policing, all that kind of stuff. So we can stand for any questions on that, or you can just find it on the city page. Correct, Dana?
Yep,
Okay.
staridaho.org/police, chief, /chief.
Chief.
I would have said police, but chief. But we also, our Luna, our canine, just got certified last Friday.
Last Friday.
Became certified. And so they are actually out on patrol today, right?
Today, they had their first deployment today. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Luna working with our POP team. Yeah, are they out there?
Sam's here, yeah.
Yeah, see if he can swing by. Well, maybe he can swing by and bring Luna in here, so you can check out our beautiful dog, Luna. Hey, how are you? Happy afternoon. Happy warm afternoon, right? Pre-storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a cool thing to have Luna out there helping out with our POP team. So they'll be on both sides of the shift, right?
Yes.
Half and half, I think, right?
Yeah, so our POP team, or our problem-oriented policing team, they split both sides of the week. So we have a blue side and a silver side. So they actually span right in the middle. So they get to work with both sides of the week. But yeah, they're always on 5 days in a row for 11-hour shifts. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And then we also, with our police, have our volunteer program. You'll start seeing this gentleman. He'll be the eyes and ears in our parks, especially like at Freedom Park and whatnot out there. He was out there yesterday. I don't know if you saw him. At first I saw a golf cart. I'm like, who in the world's driving the freaking golf cart out here in the park, right? And it was him driving our police golf cart.
Sweetie, the one that's at the school?
No, that's a different guy right there. Yeah, he's our SRO, Takuchi up there, who's going to be down there during the summer he's a deputy, right? This gentleman here is as a volunteer. He doesn't have arrest powers or any of that kind of stuff, but if there's a problem, he can get a hold of one of these guys quickly to be out there to solve that issue on those locations. So it's another set of eyes and ears out there for us, which is great.
Yeah,
So-
we're opening up that volunteer program. So it's very new to us, right? So if you know of anybody that might be interested, or if you're interested yourself, the way that we're kind of doing it is we're just taking resumes as people come in. If we think that you're going to be a good fit, we're just going to open up the volunteer program itself. through Ada County Sheriff's Office website for actual application. You do have to go through a background process, everything else, because you are going to have a badge and an ID to get into the police station. And it'll mainly be patrols throughout the summertime, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then all of our big events you'll be helping us out on. So when I say patrols, I use that term very lightly because like you said, they don't have arrest powers. They're not police officers, nothing like that. It's literally just observe and report. So if you see something, call us and we'll come handle it. And it's
Okay.
also just another person out there to say, hey, don't jump off the top of the roof into the
Right.
pond.
Yeah, stay off the shade structure.
Exactly.
Don't become like the kid last year that broke his jaw off of that. So, and then we also have our code enforcement happening. We got that, the gentleman hired for that. And he's starting on April 14th.
Yeah, so he'll start April 14th. And that's going to be, we're really excited for that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge one. A lot of it's going to be a lot of the city code stuff, everything that the city has to deal with right now, and they disperse across what Ryan and everybody else.
Mhm.
So he'll be taking over all of that. He will be in a marked police car. It'll say code enforcement on it, so you'll know who it is. He'll probably be wearing something along, a polo shirt and some BDU pants, but he'll be going around helping us out on anything that we need help with, anything that the city needs help with, enforcing all of the city code. Once again, just another eyes, ears out there for unruly juveniles, anything suspicious, anything along those lines.
And okay,
Yes.
On that.
hang on.
Okay.
Let's get a microphone because everybody, we got to talk in the microphone. We got people's online sometimes. So
Okay, so when code enforcement does start,
Huh?
is he going to get that pile of what we gave Ryan,
Yep.
everybody gave Ryan?
yeah, he's going to have all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so is he going to start from the bottom of the pile and work his way up, or do we have to
That's- we-
resubmit stuff?
No, you don't have to resubmit
Okay.
stuff. The stuff is, we already have all that stuff. You don't have to resubmit anything on there. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be, he knows that he's coming into a role with a very large workload, and he's excited for it. So in short, he's just going to start knocking things out left and right because that's going to be his sole job. He's going to have a bunch of time. There's going to be some training involved for him. So it's not like he's going to jump in, April 14th right away. He is going to be going down to some of our other contract cities such as CUNA and Eagle and our code enforcement guys who work for the county itself. He'll be jumping around with them, seeing how they do things, how do they work, all of that.
Yeah.
Get everything underneath his belt, then he'll be out here. And I mean, I would say a month at max. I would probably say more 2-week training just to really understand what's going on. And then he'll be out here handling all of our issues.
And he's under the sheriff's department, our sheriff, the police department out here too. So it won't be handled through City Hall down at their office. Yeah. Down there. So cool.
He's also not commissioned, so he's not a police officer. So he doesn't have arrest powers or anything like that. So please don't go up to him and be like, "Oh, arrest that guy." As much as he would probably love to, he does not have those police powers. So once again, he'll be observing, reporting to us as far as the statutes go and all of that. But as far as the city code goes, he is able to enforce that, right? City code violations, anything along those lines. So it'll be a great position. It'll be a really good ad.
He's a great guy. So it's he's going to fit right in with our community out here. He's a former military wounded Purple Heart
Purple Heart,
recipient. He was bomb squad guy.
bomb squad. Yeah.
Bomb squad guy. So in the military. So he knows what he's doing, right? With that. So
If he can defuse a bomb, he can defuse.
he can defuse anybody's
yeah.
anybody's issues, right?
At least that's what we're hoping for.
Right. All right. Anything else on your end? Anything for the police right now? Any other questions for those guys? Yeah. Hang on one sec.
Meridian was advertising a citizen police academy.
Yeah.
I guess it's open to non-Meridian residents as well, but are there any others that you're aware of? that
I know.
would be a little closer.
I know Nampa does one, and I know Meridian does theirs as well. That's been something that we've talked about. The hard part with that is there's a Citizens Academy. Some other people do a Cadet Academy. There's a bunch of different factors out there. Ada County Sheriff's Office has not had like a Cadet Academy in a long time. I've talked about trying to put together a Citizens type Academy, but as you can yes, we have grown drastically. So just trying to get, a lot of the Citizens Academy stuff is awesome and we'd love to do that. Generally though, with the Citizens Academy, we like to take you on the EVOC track and our canine, unit and our SWAT team and do all these other things. But we are so short-staffed in the training unit and we only have one EVOC course. So this is just one small sample of what we're dealing with. ISP has the only EVOC track in all of the Treasure Valley or southwest Idaho, and they're actually selling portions of it and getting rid of it. So just to do our mandatory emergency vehicle operations training is extremely hard to get our guys through and into. So it's a thought. It's nothing that we're doing yet, though.
Yeah. Any other questions for the police? Yeah, okay. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Questions.
Hit me with them. I'm ready.
One thing I don't understand, I guess, and maybe you can clarify for me.
Yes, sir.
Little side by sides that we use on farms and ranches and stuff.
Yeah.
Talked to a gentleman at a restaurant in the nearby area.
Okay.
And he drove in a side by side. And I said, "Oh, can you drive these on the?" He said, "Well, yeah." He said, "You have to register it and you have to license it." And he said, "Then you can go on the county roads, not the state highways."
Yes.
Okay. So
Can sorry, do you want me to answer a little bit more on that regard, or is there a follow-up question?
well, then I talked to the DMV
Yeah.
and I was informed that no, sir, side by sides are absolutely not allowed on any public roadway.
So I'll answer the first portion as far as the farm and ranch goes. So farm and ranch, you are 100% allowed to operate a quad, a UTV, anything along those lines, as long as you're in the operation of farming or ranching. Our only request is on that, and the state law states you have to have a triangle placard in the back of the either quad, tractor, anything like that. You know, the caution triangles? Slow moving vehicle, yeah. So if you have, sorry, I'll let you. So if you have one of those in the back of your quad, your tractor, whatever it is that you're taking down the state highway, you're operating on an agricultural basis, then you're fine to move those up and down. The Star Road, State Street, as long as you're moving to do irrigation, Canada, anything like that. Now, taking the agricultural portion out and just talking about a UTV, you can have a UTV on the roadways. There's a flow chart, actually. I'll try and find that for you. But the flow chart is you have to have it, you have to get you have to get a road permit or off-road permit for it. So that just means the license plate. It has to have insurance on it. It has to have brake lights. It has to have forward-facing lights. Turn signals are usually a plus because people don't do the hand signal stuff. And what else am I missing, Mayor? There's no. You can. We're just saying it's
He
a
just
plus.
saying it's a plus.
If you have the turn
If you have
signals
the turn signal, it's
installed
a plus.
on them.
Okay. Turn signal is not required.
Not
No,
required.
most people don't understand this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Going that way, going that way.
There is also, and then you get into golf carts and you get into a bunch of other smaller factors when it comes down to, can you ride those on the roadways? Well, yes and no, you can't. And it all depends on how fast is it. So you get down to the state highway portion where the vehicle has to be able to go at least a certain miles per hour. So that's where people get mixed up with a golf cart and a UTV. A UTV can generally keep up with traffic on State Street. A golf cart, some of them.
They're only 25 miles an hour, I think.
Y-
right? Or
yeah.
25?
Yeah, so it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. You can still get it all roadworthy, but then it can only go on 25-mile-an-hour roads. You can't go on, State Street, Chinden, anything along those lines. Definitely not Highway 16. So it is a little confusing as far as what you can and cannot do with them. But the biggest thing that we ask is just go to the DMV, make sure it's registered, make sure you have insurance on it, make sure it has brake lights. If you're going to be operating it at night, make sure it has headlights on it. And then outside of those 4 factors, there is one thing that isn't technically in state statute. It's the community of Star, where we are a community of people that loves our UTVs, that, we'd love for somebody to come down to the Dairy Queen, Star Merc, and get ice cream or whatever with the kiddos. As long as you're doing it in a safe manner, generally speaking, Star Police is not going to pull you over for driving your UTV down Star Road.
Thank you for the clarification, I think.
Yes, and we can get, after this, we can get together and I can try and find that flow chart for you.
Oh, he's got more.
Yes,
Love it.
yes, sir. Just FYI, last couple of days, I've noticed there's I'll say, abandoned,
School bus?
disrepair, older school bus type of vehicle parked alongside, on the side of Canada Road.
Yes.
Found just a few hundred yards north of State 44, right next to Hidden Brook entry into the subdivision over there.
Yes, sir.
That might be.
We are already notified of that, and I think the guys have already gone out and looked into it. If I'm not mistaken, they either tagged it or tried to track down the owner, but we were notified about that, and I know they're working on it.
Well, that's a duplicate, I guess. Swatting.
Yes.
I had a visit by the 2 deputy sheriffs and fire truck out on Stump Lane at the end of December.
Okay.
And the person that I thought may have been concerned for my safety, apparently, says no, they didn't call anybody.
Okay.
So I have no idea who called. And I went to the sheriff's department over here, and the receptionist here was of no help. So apparently I can't find out. I don't know who called.
But you're in Canyon County though, right?
Canyon County.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So depending on how the actual information was relayed over to us, you can do what's called a public information request. And that's what I think probably the receptionist was saying is she doesn't have the ability to hand out any information for any types of calls. But what you can do is you can go down to Ada County Sheriff's Office and you can request, hey, on this date, at this time, I had multiple officers show up at my house. I would like to know who called in on me or what it was. And I would like to know the notes that they put in there or anything that you want to know. And you can submit a public information request through Ada County Sheriff's Office. We carry all of our incident, all of our CAD notes, everything is all tracked and maintained. So they would be able to provide you with, oh, this phone number and this person called in, requesting a welfare check on you.
Okay, I was handed off information to contact a deputy. I did that, and he says, oh, I'll check on it and I'll get back to you. And he called me back, said, I have no records of it.
So it's Canyon County.
So,
You probably got the call probably came in through Canyon County, which is different than the Ada County system.
Yes.
And so they don't.
It was Ada County Sheriff that came.
Right, but if they called into Canyon County, they may have transferred over here
Yes.
to the Ada County side for us to take the call on that. So the PIR request works the same for any of the organizations on there. And you could go to Canyon County and do a public information request, and they should be able to pull that same information up on their CAD system over there.
So I didn't need to go to Canyon County.
Yeah.
It sounds like you live on the Canyon County side.
Yeah, he's
So
on the Canyon County side. up
what
here.
would have happened on that one if you're on the Canyon County side? The mayor's 100% correct.
Yep.
So they just for what they'll do is they'll just transfer us the basic information, say like, hey, we have a welfare check code 3, get there right now over at this address because it's in our jurisdiction. The way that the cell phone towers, actually the 911 stuff works it picks it up like, okay, he's on the Canyon County Sheriff side of things. So it's going to go to 911 dispatch in Canyon County. They're going to map it and they're going to say, oh, that's Ada County. We're not going to give them all of the information as far as all this. We're just going to say, get the closest units there. So then they contact Ada County Dispatch dispatches us. So in short, your best bet to get any of that information would be to go to Canyon County Sheriff's Office and do a public information request.
Okay, thank you. I'll try that.
Yes,
And
sir.
you can get that information on their, if you've got a computer and stuff off their website there, and request it that
You
way.
can submit it all online.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And later on, I'll talk to the fire chief.
Okay, when he comes up. So do you want to bring, here, you want to come up here to the front there? So here's our beautiful K9, Luna. We don't worry about Sam Goldstein. It's all about K9. And so they both got certified. It's not just one, they're a team. They both got certified to be our narcotics unit here for the city of Star. So that if you see, and Luna has her own trading cards, right? She will have her own trading cards.
Sam,
kids
do
and
you
stuff.
want to talk about what you went through
Yep.
just to get certified?
So yeah, we certified with the state on Thursday last week. So we did a 160-hour course. So it's basically a month long of training. During that training, we make sure she knows what the scents are of the narcotics we're looking for. She learns how to do building searches, open area searches, vehicle searches, and parcels as well, because we can get called by the post office to come help them. And then we test with the state. It's 100% pass or 100% fail. There's no in between. There's no 80%. So she knocked it out of the park. I'm just the guy that holds the station, walks around with her. So yeah, so it's a very long process, and it's still going to continue. We're going to continue to train and get better. But she is now a certified dog in the state of Idaho to find narcotics. So,
What's the training held at? Where did you have to go for that?
so we went all over Ada County. So we were gracious enough that the city of Star helped us out. So we did a couple weeks out here at the Star Rec Center. And then from there, we went to all different places. One of them was it's an auto auction place out past off of Eisman. I don't remember the name of it. I apologize. But they have hundreds of cars, so we get to use those to practice with. And then a lot of community members stepped up. So we had the Rev Concert Hall. They allowed us to go in there to use that for building searches and room searches. We did some down at Barrister. So we were all over the place. There wasn't a specific location. Thank you. Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, she's by far the most beautiful officer we have.
Yeah.
If I call you beautiful, we're having a problem.
I don't know if there's any more
And
questions.
the other awesome portion about this that a lot of people don't know, they see canines out and around all the time. But from Ada County Sheriff's Office with all of our contract cities, City of Star is the very first one to actually have its own designated canine officer. So they stepped up and said, we need a canine in Star. So when we're doing drug interdiction or anything along those lines, or if we're trying to do human trafficking stings, anything along those lines, generally human trafficking and narcotics go hand in hand. So when we're trying to do those interdictions, it's really hard because we have to ask for a canine. Well, the canine's usually coming from God knows where. It could be South County, you know, all the way down in Cuna or South Boise or from Barrister. And there's a lot of troubles that we have with that time delay. So you could have somebody really bad right there in front of you that's going to go be delivering narcotics to a high school party or something like that. And unfortunately, if we can't get into the car to get those narcotics, it makes it much harder. So the fact that the City of Star stepped up and gave us a canine that is designated solely for Star is absolutely amazing. So it'll be a huge plus for us. So I want to pre-warn you, when you see our narcotic arrests go up, it doesn't mean City of Star is getting worse. It just means that we're actually catching the people coming
Catch more
through.
of it.
Yeah, coming through. So don't think
They do a
that
great job as it is catching it. That's just gonna make it
10 times more. Yeah.
another tool. And she's a really good dog. It's cool to watch this program and how all that training happens and stuff like that. So, very pretty dog though. Yes, sir. So here, let me grab that real quick. So.
So a couple of parts. Is she 24/7? Yes.
She works when I work, so. we have a
So
contract.
she's not quite 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you answered the second part at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. So she's on when he's on, with our pop team, like we talked at the beginning. Where they split the 2 days of or the 2 shifts of the week and stuff. So they're on both teams there. So that's awesome. So thanks for stopping in. We appreciate that. So you'll see Luna at a lot and, Deputy Goldstein at a lot of these different events and stuff like that. And, kids will love her, and that's a great thing too. She'll be going through she'll tour the park. She'll be everywhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she's got beautiful eyes though. I love that color in their eyes, right? So, and she's originally from Ada County.
Somebody. Just found this out.
Yeah.
Something like that. So originally she was bought by a gentleman somewhere in the Treasure Valley to be a bird hunting dog. He didn't have enough time for her to train her and she was way too much energy for him. So he sent her off to the vendor that we use for police dogs. And then lo and behold, I picked her and brought her back.
She goes, it smells right around here.
Yeah.
Just my home. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions for Deputy Goldstein or anything before we let him go? And sniff out drugs. Now, I will tell you, I've had people say, well, how come we don't have because she's not a apprehension dog. She's just a drug dog. Well, if City of Star needs an apprehension dog, we got much worse problems. We're not chasing people down and stuff like that, like they do in some of those bigger cities, right? So that's not a necessity for us. The drug stuff is more of a necessity. All right, do you want to say anything there? Well, you need to say something because we got some questions for you right there, right?
Yeah, I see a couple new faces in here, so unfortunately, some of you will have to hear a repeat, but I'll hit some of the highlights. So I'm Greg Tominski. I'm the fire chief for Middleton and Star Fire Districts. So what that means is that we have a joint powers agreement to operate as one fire department. So that's why sometimes you see our uniforms and stuff will say Mid-Star Fire on it. But we are 2 separate fire districts with 2 separate boards and 2 separate budgets, and everything stays separate because we had no way of merging and we weren't ready to merge. But what happens by having a joint powers agreement is we don't need 2 chiefs, we don't need 2 fire marshals, we don't need 2 operations chiefs. So everybody from the battalion chief level all the way up to the fire chief are shared, which saves each fire district about $500,000 a year. So that's the benefit of it. And then we have 3 units to respond instead of just the 2 that Star currently has today. For the folks that haven't noticed before, we have ran a levy last May and last November for a levy increase. And I want to tell you a little bit why. So back in 2020, our legislature passed a House bill that was a property tax reduction bill. And everybody loves property tax reduction. But what that really hurt was special districts. And the fire district is a special district. And the fire district is 98% reliant on property tax. So when property taxes are decreased, our revenues are decreased. So we have lost in Star Fire District, we lost $1.71 million of revenue since 21 to current. That would have been close to what we needed to staff the fire station that we're building over on Floating Feather Road. Which brings up the second question that people always ask is why the heck you building a fire station if you can't put people in it? And that's a legitimate question. So since 2018, we've been collecting impact fees. Those impact fees come from every new construction building, commercial or residential that has been built in the Star Fire District. So we've collected those fees and we have to spend those fees in a certain amount of time or we have to give them back. So we put our minds together with our board and decided we'd go ahead and continue to build the fire station. So 1, we didn't have to pay the fees back. And number 2, construction costs are not decreasing. They're going up. So we took advantage of I say take advantage lightly of the cost today because the cost next year could be a heck of a lot more than it is this year or the year after or whenever. So we're building the fire station currently, and it will be done sometime towards the end of May. The boards have committed to putting this back on the ballot in May. So on the ballot in May will be the levy increase of $2.25 million. That $2.25 million pays for the personnel and all the equipment that they need to operate out of there. Like some businesses, you can hire, even the police department, hiring one or even Luna is one, and you get a lot of work done. The staff of fire station have to have a minimum of 9. Optimal, it's 12 for time off and injury leave and that kind of stuff, but I have to have 9 at minimum, which that's why the cost is so high. And then our equipment, I don't like to sit here and complain about inflation, but inflation for us has gone up tremendously as well. Our gear that used to be, or the suits that they wear, the turnout gear that they wear I remember when we used to buy them for $1,800 a set. It's $6,000 a set today. Fire truck we bought in 2020 was $602,000. If I use the same set of plans and give it to the same manufacturer, that fire truck today is 1.1 million, and it takes 48 months before it's done, and I have to pay for it in advance. So we've been doing other things because we have to have a fire truck for the new station. We've been taking old fire trucks and having them refurbished. There's a company in Henderson, Nevada that refurbishes them, and we've already had one done, and the other one that we're going to pick up for that station will be done next month. And we can get basically a brand new fire truck, has a new motor, transmission, pump, all new paint, upholstery, the whole thing. You can't tell that it's actually a 2006 fire truck. It'll look brand new and operate brand new, and we're getting that for $500,000. So half of what we would if we bought it new, and it only took 8 months to get it instead of 48 months. Another thing a question that comes up is if you live close to the fire stations that we currently have, why in the world would I need to worry about one that's down the street on Floating Feather? Which is a great question as well. We talked about this earlier. Folks that live in Pinewood Lakes, they can literally see the building from their house. You probably see the building from your house. And why would I care if there's another fire station at the other end of town? Well, the reason is it is a great big building. We have maintenance in there, we have a fire truck in there, and we have administration in there. But when that fire truck leaves, there's nobody else there. There is no second crew waiting for the second response. And we do our best to try to respond to calls in 5 minutes or less. It's harder with traffic and everything else right now, but when that fire truck is gone on a call, about 1,500 times a year, that fire truck is out of that building on another call, and an average call lasts an hour, some longer, some shorter. The next fire truck that's coming typically will be another 5 minutes. So for heart attacks, strokes, difficulty breathing, seizures, all those things need to be taken care of fast. If you're at a car accident, you want it taken care of fast. If your house is on fire, you want it taken care of fast. And 5 minutes is a time that we try to shoot for. And when that fire truck is gone and the one's coming from Kingsbury, and then the other one coming on the other side of town would come from Linder, that's over there for Eagle Station. Those are going to be 10-minute responses instead of 5-minute responses. And that's if those engines are available. If those engines are on a call, then it goes another 5 minutes out. The next one that comes from the west will be downtown Middleton. The next one that comes from the east, kind of southeast, will be the new fire station that Meridian has by Owyhee High School. So every time that there's an unavailability, you add basically 5 more minutes to the call. So by having that fire station down there staffed on Floating Feather, the response time into the core of Star, where the majority of our calls are, we'll be able to get to most of them in 5 to 6 minutes instead of 15 or 10 or 12 minutes. So that is the reason. And that is why it is important to have a fire station on the other side of town and not just worry about the one that's close to your house. And then the last thing I'll stop after this one is a lot of people say, well, just tell the city to stop growing. Well, currently there is no mechanism that the legislature gives a city to stop growing. The city has to, if you sell your land for highest and best value, unfortunately, highest and best today is probably to grow houses. It's not corn anymore. So when they sell that land for commercial use or residential use, that's where the highest value is. And Trevor can jump in anytime he wants and explain that he can't tell them, no, you can't do that.
You're right.
Good.
And even if we try to tell them no, it doesn't mean it won't happen anyway, because it can get developed through the county. Or another city can just come right into your city if it's contiguous in some way and develop, and you're still in the same situation, right? I mean, there's a lot of factors and nuances that are involved with that. And we thought that the high building costs would have slowed things down. Every time you see a fire in California, you see more people wanting to move here. Every time you see something going on, and I had this interview last week. A lot of people are moving here for political reasons, and we just got to be real about that and understand that. They don't like the government that they came from, and they like what's happening in our area, and so they're moving here just like everybody else has, right? I think we've gone away from the part where you move to the place that you want to be at, but it's become more of a political statement more than anything. So it's kind of interesting to me, especially being here all my life, right? My family being here all of our life. We used to beg people to come to Idaho. It was the craziest thing. It was legislatures doing all sorts of things to try to get businesses and people to come to Idaho. Now we're like, whoa, how do you put on the brakes, right? And you can't figure that out, right? So did you want to ask some questions of the chief while you got your paper ready? Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is relative to my prior conversation with the sheriff. I was not in the house. I was down in the barn, and sheriff come knock on the barn door. Says, "Well, I couldn't find anybody in the house." I'm like, oh, here you are. Yeah, here I am. And I step out of the house and oh crap, the barn's on fire. No smoke. No. Are you okay? Yeah, I was fine, right? Here comes a huge fire truck. One of those $1 million plus fire trucks. Ladder, all this, that comes down the stump lane. It's probably not as wide as this room. And like I said, I thought it was the end of December, but I thought, this must be New Year's Eve, man. Look at the fireworks. There was red lights, blue lights, orange lights, bright lights, lights all over the place. Scared me out of my shoes. So I came out, I'm like, holy, what's going on here? Well, somebody had made a call, I guess, and like I said, I don't know who or what. So, okay, they call the dogs off, start shutting lights down some, and the fire truck, there's a lady out there on the radio, because it's getting dark, and she's talking to the driver, I assume, in the truck. Sir, I have a 30-foot wide driveway entry, a big yard to turn around. And because I was getting a lot of unwanted traffic, I put gates up. So I put gates up, those gates were closed, and the truck was parked parallel to those gates. Yeah, I said, hey, just back the truck up, maybe 20 feet. We'll swing the gates open and come right in here, turn around, no problem. Go back out. No, I don't know where common sense is. No. She backed that truck a couple hundred yards down the lane and then tried to turn around in a T there that goes into another people's driveway. And after making about a 5 or 6 point turnaround, finally got the truck turned around and back. The sheriffs were there talking with me, and they were very nice too. I want to add that. They were very respectful, and I appreciate that, and I respect them also. I said, well, tell the truck to stop. We'll open the gates. He can drive right in. They can't communicate. They can't communicate. The sheriff's car cannot communicate with the fire truck. Now, I find that extremely difficult to believe in this day and age. So anyway, we got the truck out of there eventually. And then the sheriff was able to easily turn around because they had a little more sense that they could come in, drive in, turn around, whatever, go out. I wasn't going to press trespassing charges or something. Okay. I wasn't the fire truck either, but I don't know where common sense is. But it wasn't there that night with the fire department. Okay, and I'm just gonna tell like it is. So I have a couple of comments, I guess, maybe. Why do they send a huge, big fire truck out on these calls? Don't they have something smaller, more compact? Is there an ambulance located locally in Star? Because as far as I know, I think the ambulance comes from Middleton. I don't know the answer to that. But anyway, that's.
Here, let him answer those questions real quick.
That's all I got.
Yeah, let him answer your questions on that real quick.
So on why the fire truck comes, we are actually in the process of putting a squad in service, getting all the equipment put on it right now. And we'll have, it's a Dodge 550 pickup with a flatbed on it. It'll have a little bit of hose and stuff on it with a few 100 gallons of water in case it comes across a grass fire or something like that, a small one. That we will be doing that with because a $1.6 million ladder truck is hard to get into places. But currently that's the apparatus that they have to take on an EMS call. The reason that the fire and police came, my guess is somebody couldn't find you and they had them call for a welfare check. So they're going to send the police and the fire in case there was something they had to do CPR on you or whatever. And they probably did call an ambulance, but they canceled the ambulance. So because you're on the Canyon County side, Canyon County ambulance would come, but currently they are struggling because of the same property tax reduction bill. And the ambulance that sits in our fire station at 302 Main Street in Middleton is only staffed from 8 to 8, 12 hours a day instead of 24 hours like it used to be. But when that one's not available, there is one in Star, down there where the emergency signal is, just past Moyle, where they put a gate up. It's right down the street there. The gate opens up when they get a call, and they would have came if somebody would have found something. But since police officers found you in the barn, minding your own business, they probably just told them that they didn't need to respond, so they canceled the ambulance. But you make a good point about driving a great big fire truck down Stump Lane. I get it. But when we get that squad in service, that call a squad would have went to that call. We just don't have it quite in service yet. We hope within the next 30 days it'll be up and running.
So we were answering that question before it happened.
The radio, hey, don't come in.
I'm actually going to jump on that one really quick. First off, I found out that Deputy Goldstein was actually on that call. So he'll catch you after this and he can explain everything to you on why, on all of that. So hopefully we can get you some answers. So that's a big one. So Outside of that, the radio stuff, we can communicate back and forth between each other on the radios. However, we, you would think that it's just a one click over here or there on the radios. It is not. Our radios, they're $7,000 radios. They have $12,000 radios. They have banks and banks and banks of different channels, different programming, all that kind of stuff. So we can communicate. And actually that is a training that the fire department and Star Police are working on together to sit there and talk about how can we switch between radio banks and communicate with one another easier. And we're going to actually teach all of our Star guys how to switch over to the fire banks and all the fire guys how to switch over to the Star Police banks. That way that we can actually communicate that across. It was actually supposed to happen this April. We had to reschedule it, but that is a training that we are going to work on getting it squared away so that way we can work together. Yeah, of course.
Thank you for your questions.
Real
Appreciate it.
life stuff. All right, any questions of Chief Tominski? Okay, hang on. Oh, you got to have the mic.
Okay, I have one more question for you concerning property taxes. Now, Governor Little just signed the reduction in property taxes. So how is that going to affect you when it goes into effect for us?
So the bills that they passed this year for property tax reduction and income tax reduction does not take from property taxes. It'll reduce your property tax, but it's surplus money.
It's money that the state has that they're applying towards different things in your property tax, not to public safety. It's typically to the schools and stuff like that to help reduce that tax on there. That's where you'll see the decrease. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question though. Yeah. Especially when you see, $400 million saved, right, in taxes, you're like, and then we're having these issues here. It's like, what are we doing? Right? We do need to start getting, none of us like taxes, but there is a point of no return when we damage ourselves so much that we're going to turn into the places that people don't want us to turn into that they move from. And we have, the only funding mechanisms we have right now for the city of Star to pay for our police is 100% of our property taxes pay for our police. Fire department, 98% is property taxes that pay for that. Unless that mechanism changes through the state on how we get this funding, that's our only sources right now. And so we can't continue to cut the throat of that while we have the growth that we have, because we're going to see services decline all across the board from public safety, from the police side, from the EMS side, and from the fire side. And now you're starting to see other, how many fire districts did you say there were, Chief, in the state of Idaho?
Fire districts, there is, I don't remember.
It's like 50 something, 60 something, more than that?
No, what you're referring to is urban renewal districts.
Oh, how many-
that
okay, yeah.
touch fire districts.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fire districts. So Parma Fire District in Canyon County, I just noticed today or yesterday when we were talking that Parma Fire District is asking for a levy increase because of the same scenario that they're running into. So you're going to see more and more fire districts asking for these levy increases unless they can find a funding mechanism. Canyon County EMS is asking for a levy increase. If that doesn't pass on the Canyon County side, you may see the Canyon County EMS dissolve because they are going down. They're going to lose people. When people don't have job security, even in those positions, they're not going to stay unless they can't fund it and finance it.
They lost 10 employees in the last 60 days.
So that's a problem, right? It's a big problem. So there's things that we have to do as a citizenry to try to, none of us like to pay those taxes, but that's the necessary evil to make sure that these services are provided to everybody, right? You're paying for insurance. If you really think about it, it's insurance. You hope to God you never have to use it, but if you have to use it, you hope that they're there within 5 minutes so that you can survive or your family member can survive or whatnot, right? So you gotta take, everybody's gotta do a little bit of soul searching a little bit on this and determine what's my life and my family's life valued at right here? What am I willing to pay for that? So to be honest with you.
And a lot of people don't understand, the fire department comes out on a ton of calls with the police officers.
Yep.
If we arrest somebody and we have to take them to jail and we need a quick medical clearance, we don't go to the hospital for that because we don't have 2-3 hours to spare and leave Star without a deputy. Who do we call? Fire department. Fire department comes, they do a quick medical eval. ask all the questions, go through everything, and they clear them so we can take them to the jail. And there's so many other factors that our firefighters are coming to just, I mean, call after call after call. We have one crew on in Star, right?
Yep.
So if you're covering all of Star, I think we talked about this at the, we do a Star Traffic and Crime Open House. We're going to change it to the first Wednesday of every month. Something like that, right, Dana? Yeah, something like that. It'll be posted when we come, but it's a time for everybody to come and talk about any traffic issues that you see, crime issues. You can ask a bunch of questions, all that. But we were just talking about what standard of living do we want here in Star? We don't set that. The citizens set the standard of living that you guys want, and then we enforce that, right? So if you want a bunch of homeless people running around, then put laws in place or, vote somebody in that's going to allow a bunch of homeless people and drug users running around our streets. If you don't want that, then keep people like Mayor Chadwick in, and then we will enforce that standard of living that we want. Same thing with the fire portion. We don't set the standard of living. We enforce it. We hold that standard for you guys. And it's up to our citizens to set that standard of what you want. And it's just for up to us to hold that standard. So that's what we're really trying to push on that end is this is a standard that we see that we want. It's just, do you want that as well?
Yep. Cool.
Right here.
In the same seat, you could have that exact one,
Yep.
because you're there every month. Put
It's-
your name on it.
From 6 to 7 PM. We were doing it twice a month. Nobody was showing up. So we went down to once a month. We're going to try and open that up to be, I have these grand endeavors of what it's going to become. I don't know if it's going to turn into that, but I would really like to do some case reviews with everybody. So we can talk about, I'm really shooting for the Star homicide on Christmas Day back in 2022, 21, something like that. I'd love to do a case review on that for everybody to talk about what happened, how we found it, the investigation. A lot of people don't know that the suspect was actually arrested within, I think it was like 14 hours of us actually getting called.
And I just
So-
want to make everybody clear, they weren't even from Star.
Exactly.
It wasn't a Star thing. It was just happened to happen here.
Well, he wanted to die in a beautiful place.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So, some really cool aspects of all of that. But those meetings will hopefully, we had our property crimes guy come and talk about different scams that are going on, what to look out for, what to do. We've had a bunch of different stuff.
I want to bring this up too. So since you said scams, right now there is there's an email and a text going out that tells you you need to pay a toll to ITD. Don't fall for that. We don't have tolls in Idaho, right? So make sure that you're not out there throwing your money out thinking you have a toll to pay. I just want to bring that up
I
because
got one
I
today.
sent that off. I got it. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I sent it off to ITD. You got it too? Yeah, they're pretty desperate. You got it too? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, on the scam subject, since we're there, call us, please call us. And if somebody wants to keep you on the phone while they're trying to get money out of you, hang up on them. If it is really a bill collector, they will call back again at a later date. Come down to the station while you're on the phone with them or whatever it is. Please just come talk to us first. If you have a warrant for your arrest, we will not ask for any type of money or bail over the phone. I promise you that.
And we're not gonna call you.
And we're most like, well, occasionally we do call and say, hey, you got a, book and release warrant. You should go turn yourself in. We'll give you a day. But that's go turn yourself in, not we're going to come, collect $500 from you in Apple Pay cash or whatever.
Right. That's all right.
Just hang up.
But yeah, back to the important stuff. We need more firefighters here in Star. And, Star Police, we rely on them constantly. So
So the difference, like Chief said, we can hire one officer at a time, right, as we're growing. They can't hire one firefighter at a time. It's 9. So we put mitigation fees in place to help pay for police on that, right? And that's helping us pay that's one-time funding, right? But that's helping us add the police while the growth is going on, while we're trying to work with the state to try to find a permanent funding solution for EMS, fire, and police in the state of Idaho with what's going on here. So, all right, cool. Any other questions of these guys? And I'll talk about, oh, yes. Yeah, I'm going to answer that one here. I just want to make sure that there's no questions here. Yep. Police open house, April 9th, 6 PM in this room. Yeah, are you gonna be here too? To be determined. Okay. You'll be here. All right, let's talk about a few other things in the city. There's a question that was online about Highway 44 expansion between Star Road and Highway 16. There's so many highways, right? We are hoping that we can get this moved up from 2029, that it got put on the STIP, I think, right? STIP on the state. The state keeps pushing it out. There's a whole dynamic behind this whole corridor from Linder Road all the way through the city of Middleton. And when Middleton did something, it created an issue for everybody else. And so the state did a good job of rescuing this section in their environmental studies to be able to get the funding for this. But the funding is also tied into a Greenbelt pathway system from Highway 16 all the way to the Stillwater development where Dutch Brothers is in Eagle, right off of Highway 44. I think we just got approval to break those two things apart. So they can do the expansion here while they're buying the 70-something right-of-ways that they have to buy in that segment for that pathway. Because that's going to take several years for them to get that done. So we're hoping, when talking to Speaker Moyle, that he's helping try to drive some of this, that we can get this section done here in the next couple of years. Okay? To be determined. So to let you know on that. Okay? I don't know if you guys saw, our bridge got delivered. We talked about this historic bridge that we got. We got it delivered out there to the park. They're putting it together. I'd like to tout the horn of all of our trades. Tradespeople are amazing people. They can do some incredible stuff. The iron and steel and welder workers for this project out of Bill's Machine Shop in Emmett were able to break down this bridge, get it transported here, and get it put back together, the transport back together in a day. From steel, that's not you steel, but steel that was made in 1908. It's incredible to see how they get that, and it looks just the same. So they're doing a good job. They're going to fly that bridge around April 10th or 11th. We have to have a bigger crane since it's one big 195-foot section of bridge now. That they'll fly that bridge into location. It's sitting right in front of where it's going to go, but they'll fly it into location. Once they fly it, they'll put the old rustic handrails on it. You'll see there's car rails on it right now. Those are coming off. That's not going to be what it looks like. Those are coming off. And then we're going to Trex deck it because it has that corrugated metal on it. We're not allowed to concrete that per the engineers. So we're going to do Trex decking on it. And they're going to leave that corrugated steel on there as our sub floor for that material. So it's going to be pretty cool when that gets all said and done over there. What else we got going on? We're updating our city comprehensive plan and our codes. We're also working on we have a downtown revitalization plan that was established in 2011. A lot has changed since then, so we're updating that plan for down in this corridor. That'll be coming to the council for approval, not the plan itself, but for consultant approval in about probably 3 weeks. Second meeting in April, just so you're aware for that. Let's see, what else we got going on? We have several park projects going in the works. We have the Boot Hill Park going on up there by the cemetery. You see that they're working on the parking lot up there in the front. And then the irrigation guys are putting stuff in right now up there. We have a committee together to work on the Roselands Park. The citizens that live up around Roselands are helping design that park. So we'll get that out to everybody as well. We also have an event center that's being designed right now for down by the River House. It's about 6,000 to 7,000 square feet of event space. It's going to look like an old rustic barn to fall in the feel of the Star history there, just so you're aware. What else we got? Lowe's filed an application. We have a public hearing that'll be coming up on that. And I just want everybody to understand, everybody just thinks that we can just stop these things right here at City Hall. Not the case. Everybody has a right to be heard in a public hearing. And if it follows the comprehensive plan and the codes and stuff that were established with it, it could get approved. Okay, so we don't know yet. All that's still to be vetted out with a city council meeting. That probably won't happen until June sometime on there. Yeah. Trying to think what else we had going on. You guys bring up anything? We have the extravaganza. That's a huge community event there at Hunters Creek Park coming up. If you guys haven't been to Pavilion Park, go check that park out. It is a busy puppy. Lots of kids playing over there. ACHD has fast-tracked a pedestrian crossing light at, is it Highbrook? Is it Highbrook over there? Highbrook and Star Road to get kids across Star Road, because we got all that families on the other side. That way we get them across safe to that, because I mean, that park is being used a lot. We created a playground in there that's fully accessible ADA. It's like one of a kind, the way that it's been designed in the valley. And we got families that are coming in with kids that are wheelchair bound and stuff, utilizing this park because it allows them to participate with their friends that are able-bodied on different things, right? So it was pretty cool to get that designed out with several parents here in our community that had kids that are bound to wheelchairs and stuff like that. So yes. Yep.
Like where Sherman Williams is?
Yep.
Is there 3 lots pending? Is that all that's left over there?
No, there's several lots that are still over there. The 3 lots that are pending that are, I believe, Dave Evans plans on building about 45,000 square feet of retail space. That's locations where, when we're talking about small mom and pop shops, it gives people that opportunity to lease out space to put in your business over there. So I would encourage folks to reach out to Dave Evans on that, to do that. Most people don't have the $1 million plus. The $400, basically, if you just think about it this way, it costs about $400 a square foot to build a commercial facility right now. That is that's the business I grew up in. I was an estimator and project manager, and it just blows me away to see $400 a square foot for commercial space right now to build it. But that's going to give people the opportunity to have locations to bring in those shops and businesses that they want over there. Currently, you see Epic Car Wash is being built over there. I think there's Dowdy's that's being built over there. There's a bank bought one of the sections. Don't get mad at banks. Everybody has money in a bank. I get yelled at for banks. Unless everybody's going crypto now. I mean, you tell me that, right? But people utilize banks all the time. We do have Anderson, it's called Prime American Steakhouse, which is the Anderson Reserve folks that'll be building over here. That's been approved. Down here on this other end where that Moyle Light's going in, there's a lot of commercial interest down there up Highway 16 on that section. And then same thing on the Star Road and Chinden corridor over there. We have a lot of commercial interest for up in that segment as well. So you'll see a lot more commercial popping up here over a period of time. So, trying to think, yes. Oh, yes, the driver's license office is open now here in Star. So we have driver's licenses, the DMV for license plates here, and you can get your passports upstairs. We're working on trying to get the TSA pre-checks done upstairs as well. So we could be a one-stop shop for you here. And that driver's license office is by appointment. And you just go to the Ada County Sheriff's website, I think, to the driver's license, and just click on there somewhere to schedule your appointment for that. You get your STAR card here. You cannot get your concealed weapons here. That's only at one location in Boise, I think, right? Down on Benjamin? Down on Benjamin, if you want to conceal weapons, that's the only place you can do it here in Ada County. So no more traveling to Emmett or to Meridian to get your driver's license. You can do it right here locally, which is great. What else? Anything else? You guys have questions for me on stuff? You gotta have questions. I answered all yours. Any questions for me back there? Just lots of planning and stuff going on. We did approve a development called Terramore. I'm sure you've heard about that. It's a bigger development over by Kingsbury on the Kenny County side. I'm going to tell everybody right now that it is better for us as a city to have one development, planned development, than a bunch of 40-acre or 10-acre developments coming in that are hodgepodge together. Just because it's a big development doesn't mean it's getting built tomorrow. If anybody's been around here forever, Heron River is still being built, and that was approved back in 2005. Right? Well, it's not done yet completely. Almost. Is all the houses built? Oh, okay, because I still see construction trucks in there. Okay, so now it's just getting done. So 19 years it took for them to build that, and it's a lot smaller than what was approved over there in Terramore on the Kenny County side. Okay? What else? Anything else? You guys can help us out by just talking to your legislatures about helping us get funding for public safety. That's a key thing right now. They're killing all of us. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm very conservative. I don't like the taxes either, but I also understand the dynamics of where those tax monies are going. Idaho is not like California in the way it's spent. It's a lot different here. So
It's not collected like it is in California.
it's not collected. Oh, so I want to just answer this thing too. A lot of people I've heard say that you have all this growth, so you have all this tax money coming in. It's not true. We're capped on our property taxes on how much we can increase it by 8% max. The City of Star only levies $2 million in property taxes on a $4 billion value in our city. So an 8% increase on that's 160,000 is the maximum amount I can increase those taxes regardless of the amount of building we have. And this is the problem we have. The state doesn't give us the tools to slow down the growth, but they limit us on how we can fund our growth, right? That's the problem right now. And that's what we're trying to figure out. It's on there. Okay? And that's the fire department's problem. They can only increase about 300 and some thousand a year max,
312.
312.
The other thing that is different, if you came here from California, or it doesn't matter what other state, I've learned that a lot of states do it. So we're asking for, I think it's $46 per 100,000 is what we have to advertise on the May election, because the new numbers for last year don't come out until June, and we have to use a number that the state gives us. But that number goes down. One of the other questions that gets asked is, you really didn't need $2.25 million because you changed it from $56 down to $46. Well, only reason they dropped by $10 100,000 is because our valuation of this district went up that much. And we grew more last year than we did the year before. So it's even going to drop more than the $10 that it dropped the year before. In other states, when they start at 50 some odd dollars per $100,000 of taxable value, it stays at that number forever. Ours is the opposite. In other states, it's based off of the levy rate. Our budget creates the levy rate. So our budget can go up 8% a year. That's why our levy rate has dropped. When I came to Star in 2013, the max levy rate, the max a fire district is allowed to have in the state of Idaho for a levy rate is a 0.0024. That's what it was at. Today, our levy rate is a 0.0008.
Dropped a lot.
Crazy amount.
Yeah.
It's because the valuation. I don't think we were. I don't know. In 2013, we're like $600 million of value. Now we're 4.2 billion.
Yeah. Value here in Star. And that's just Star. Now the fire district is not just the city of Star. The fire district also includes the city of Eagle all the way up into Villanova. Right? So you have Villanova, you have all this stuff down here around 44 and 16, right? And they also go on to the Middleton side a little bit too, right?
Correct.
Yeah, on the Middleton side all the way north. 60 square miles?
55 square.
55 square miles is how big that district is. And so all that development that's within that, even if we were to stop in the city of Star, it doesn't mean Eagle's going to stop it. Doesn't mean the county will stop it. Doesn't mean Middleton will stop it, right? So it's an interesting dilemma that we get into out here in our community, especially when you're growing like we are, and a desirable place. People want to be here, right? So. All right. I don't have anything else. You guys have any other questions or anything for me? Bruce, anybody?
I'd like to thank everyone for their time,
Yeah.
for allowing all of us to express our concerns and answering our questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate the response. Okay, thank you.
And every month, the fourth Wednesday of every month, got to get that right. I screw it up every month. And here at 3:30, we'll be here. Sometimes you'll see Chief Hessing's not here, so we'll have a substitute. Sometimes I get called out. I won't be able to make it, so we'll have somebody in here as a substitute, but we'll have this meeting in here so you can ask your questions and stuff as well. Okay?
Yeah, thank you for coming and asking the questions, giving us feedback, because
Yeah.
we like that too.
Yeah, it's good. That's the only way that you can improve and grow. But then you can also see that some of the things you were talking about, they were already working on, which was, for me sitting back there was like, sweet. You know, at least we're all on the same page on what we're thinking and trying to do here, right? So, cool. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming out and participating today. And we will see you on the next one.